Kate and this is my first ever YouTube video and I'm going to tell you how I got an A in geography. I did the AQA exam board. Hopefully you find this video useful, but obviously I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to get an A in geography if you do all these things. Basically, I said that if I get an A in geography, I'm going to make a YouTube video about it. So here I am. For reference, I got 101 out of 120 on paper 1, 71 out of 120 on paper 2, so not that great, and 50 out of 60 on my NEA. I felt super overwhelmed throughout the majority of the course, and a lot of my friends did. So if you're doing A-level geography, don't think that just because you're finding it hard, you're not going to do well. I'm assuming that most of the people who are watching this are already doing the A-level geography course. However, if you are considering if you want to do geography or not, the biggest thing I'd say is that, in my opinion, you need to be at least somewhat interested in geography, because otherwise you're literally going to be saying I hate geography every single day of your life. You're going to need to do coursework, and how on earth are you going to decide what topic to do the coursework on if you don't enjoy the subject and you're not interested in any of it? You're literally going to have to go out in your free time and collect data about something to do with geography. So if you hate geography, just don't do it. I would like to start by talking about the NEA. Obviously, that's 20% of your grade, so it can make a huge difference. It can take you up from one grade to the next grade. First things first for your NEA though, just choose a topic that you're interested in, please. Tip number 1, look at the sample NEA. They can be found on the website, I think, or somewhere. There are sample NEAs that are literally provided by AQA. Is literally AQA going, this is what is going to get you full marks. This is what is going to get you very little marks. So what are you going to do? You're going to use the one with the full marks, and you're going to keep referring to it, because what do you want? You want full marks. The sample with full marks has a lot of detail. It has everything structured. It has everything named. It has everything labeled. So what are you going to do? You're going to do the exact same. You need to label everything. You need to you need to do the arrows. You need to label every single photo. You might think that the examiner will know what you're talking about, but no, they won't. You need to literally explain everything, and you're going to need to write a lot. If you're questioning, do I include an executive summary? The other examples I've seen that don't have it, but the sample one does have it. Do an executive summary. And also, make everything so organized. It needs to be beautiful. It needs to be so organized. It needs to be as organized as those fridges that you see on Pinterest, where everything has its own section and it's all labeled and it's all pretty, and it's just like, that's how your NEA should look like. It should be clear what section is what section, which heading is the heading, which heading is the subheading. Use different fonts. Make it clear when you're referencing something.
So I promise I'm not sponsored, even though I might as well be. This website Scriber is very good at generating references in citation styles such as Harvard, which is what I used for my NEA, and you might have never done referencing before, so this might make it much easier for you.
I also recommend making subheadings. So for example, for your conclusion, make a conclusion for your first hypothesis, make a conclusion for your second one, make a conclusion for your third. Just make everything super structured. Tip number 2 is make the most out of the help that your school provides you with. Obviously, your teacher or the geography department is not allowed to provide you with a lot of help. But with the help that they do give, you need to be making the most out of it. That means that when you're asking your teacher for help and they're giving you some tips, you're going to need to write down stuff so you don't forget what they're saying. If the teacher tells you that they'd like to talk to you about your NEA, make time for that. Don't just be like, oh yeah, that's fine. No, they literally know what they're talking about. So just do it. And be proactive. If the teacher says that it's on you to arrange a time to meet up to talk about your NEA, do it. And maybe some of these things are duh, but maybe for some people it's not duh. Maybe some people are not proactive. So I'm just saying. The third thing I'm going to say is that the process of typing up the background information, the hypothesis, the methodology, all of that stuff is super long, but you only really need your laptop, right? So it's very easy to just grab your laptop and go to a coffee shop, grab your geography bestie and just sit in your favorite coffee shop for hours and just type up whatever you need to type up. Because for stuff like background information, you only really need to access other websites and maybe your book. So I don't know, I'm just saying it's a fun opportunity to get out of your house and go to a coffee shop and look so busy and mysterious. Maybe it's not for you, but that's what I did with my best friend and we did well. Especially if your school is not providing you with that much help, it is very useful to have an EA buddy or just a geography buddy. Please get yourself a geography buddy. That's probably my biggest tip of this whole video, actually. That you can do this kind of work with. Obviously, they're working on their thing, you're working on your thing, but you're helping each other out. And then you can celebrate together when you get your great results. Moving on to more general tips, I'm now going to just talk about all the different revision methods that I used that you might want to try out for geography. Before I share anything specific, my biggest tip is whether you're making some random revision cards in year 12, or maybe you're revising for a test and you're doing a poster, just whenever you're doing any kind of revision, whether it's like 3 months before the actual exam, or maybe it's a year before the actual exam, make it pretty the first time you do it. If you make really nice revision cards, you will want to look at them again. But if you did revision cards in year 12, but you made them ugly because you were making them last minute, and you're never going to want to look at them again. And then guess what? You're going to have to redo them because now you want revision cards. But you already have them because you already did them in year 12 for a random topic test, but you made them ugly. So just make them pretty the first time. I did that, like I made random cards that I did not want to look at again. The first thing I did was posters with a lot of detailed notes. Obviously, if you just do this and you just focus on making them cute and then you never use them again, never look at them again, obviously that's not going to be helpful. However, these are very helpful to do if you make the poster or make a very pretty page of notes, and then you refer to them when you plan your 20 markers or when you write your 20 markers, or maybe you will look over them the day before the exam, or you start looking over them again and again a few weeks before the exam, which is what I did. But I made my posters very, very detailed. This is what they look like, very pretty. And the thing is, I made them pretty because I was like, I now want to look at them again, so I might as well make them cute and aesthetically pleasing. A lot of detail, but I did also, as you can see, I highlighted the main bits. So the day before literally, I'm telling you, the day before the exam, I was looking at this. Our physical geography teacher did force us to do these, not force us, but like we were told we had to do this every week. And there was a new topic every week to do. We had to do an A3 or 2 A4 sheets of paper of revision posters. And they had to be very detailed and they could not have any blank space. And obviously I'm not saying that just because you wrote it down and you filled in a whole A4 sheet of paper, you're going to remember that. But the thing is, if you make your revision posters really good or your revision cards really good, and when you're making them, you're using multiple sources like the book and online and your PowerPoints from your teacher, you're going to know that this sheet of paper right here has every single thing you need about terrestrial ecosystems, because you know that when you were making it, you put everything you need to know on here and you have evaluated, you know, which facts to leave out and which facts to put on here. The night before the exam, the week before the exam, you don't need to be overwhelmed and be looking at all these different sources of information. All you need to look at is here, because you know that you put all the useful information on this one sheet of paper. So yes, it's time consuming. Yes, there's a lot of detail, but then all you need to refer to is this. You know, I did also do revision posters for human geography, but I kind of left them with my teacher. I can't lie. Mostly what I did for human geography though is revision cards. Now, these are very useful for facts about case studies, especially in my opinion. So these are all the ones that I have. Not as much as I have for business. For business I had a lot, but as you can see, I titled all of them. Obviously I did the question at the front, and then I also did like the topic down, like at the bottom, so that I can easily find the revision card that I need. I know people like to do them on Quizlet. I hate everything digital, anything digital. No, like this is just so much more cute. Revision cards and revision posters, obviously pretty straightforward. Just make sure they're detailed. They need to be detailed. I'm sorry to tell you that, but you need to actually know details for that AO1. Please do get this book. It's great. I think they have a 5th edition now. They might as well sponsor me. Yeah, great book, but are you gonna need to refer to every single part of it? No, you're not. Get a secondhand version. I got a secondhand version. Then sell it again and get money back, basically. However, also, just because you get this book that doesn't mean this has all the info you need. It definitely doesn't, because your school might be doing different case studies to this book. In which case, you're going to need to research the case studies by yourself, because maybe your teacher chose some random case study. I would say it is everything for theory though. Like, I mean, I think it is. Like, if this is not everything, then what is, right? Next, let's talk about past papers and practice questions. Definitely 100%, 100,000% practice a 20 marker for all of your case studies for every single major case study. And then for every single little case study, also please practice writing about it, because case studies come up. My geography buddy and I met up every weekend in the last month or a few months or so before the exam, and every single weekend in a cafe we planned 2 20 markers. Sometimes we worked them out properly and then we got our teacher to look at it. Sometimes we planned it and then we got our teacher to look at it. Here are some of the past papers that I found that I still have. As you can see, I was actually writing stuff in there. Sometimes you will come across a question and you literally don't know what to write, and you're going to need to look at the mark scheme to get inspiration. But that's fine. Like, that's okay. That's what I did. It's much easier to do it with a friend. You can discuss ideas. It is very helpful for me personally when you're discussing ideas out loud and when you're discussing facts about your case study out loud, because then you're kind of thinking about it, because you want to try and think before you say anything, right? So you're thinking and you're discussing and you're hearing your friends say these facts about your case studies. So it's getting into your brain. They're really hard, and it is really nice to do as many as possible, maybe with a friend before you try to do one by yourself, or just if you can't do a full one, just do individual questions. Any practice is better than no practice. Also, I didn't do this, but I know a lot of people did do this, and a girl who was really, really amazing. I don't know what she got in the end, but she was really amazing. She used the structure of actual exam style questions from actual past papers, but then she substituted the keywords for other keywords in the topic. For example, if this question is saying, assess the extent to which counter-urbanization leads to social and economic change, you might change the word counter-urbanization for something else, and then assess the extent to which that affects the social and economic change. And that way, you basically have an endless amount of practice questions. Did I do that? No, I did not do that, but I'm just saying that is also a good idea, and that way you are never going to run out of questions. You can access questions from past papers. There's also a website with questions on there. I found the structure of the essays really hard. I only fully understood it probably winter time in year 13, probably like literally after my mocks. This is very important because you need to know how much writing to do for the amount of marks that you're getting. So if you're not sure, just go and speak to your teacher. Honestly, I'm not going to try and tell you what to do right now here, because A, I forgot about it, B, I'm just not going to be the best at it. I'm sure your teacher is going to be better at it. You know, what exact things do you want to include in your conclusion? What exact things do you want to include in your introduction? It's just all made up, and you just need to do what the exam board wants you to do. Lastly, I'll quickly mention, I did have 2 tutors for geography. I had online tutors, but I wouldn't say that was the reason I didn't fail and that is the reason I got an A. I did find them very helpful because a lot of the time I was just finding it hard to motivate myself to actually revise. But if I knew that I had this 1 hour scheduled with my tutor, I knew that I had to be ready for it. I had to be listening. I had to be revising because I have this hour booked. That's what I personally found the most helpful about it. It's not anything crazy. It's not like they gave me some crazy knowledge that my teacher couldn't give me. No, for me personally, I just found it useful that there was an allocated time that I was, you know, if all else goes bad throughout the day, I knew that, right, I know that I need to be here at this time to revise geography because I literally am paying for it. Another FYI, some tutors might cater to a different exam board than the one that you are doing. So they might tell you that this is how you answer a question in this and this way, but listen to your teacher because they're probably actually experts in the exam board that you're doing. Just keep in mind that exam boards are very different. Be careful out there because some people will tell you to explain in your AO3 markers. Do you need to explain your AO3 markers if you're doing AQA geography? No, you do not explain. You do not explain. You never even consider explaining. I'm sure it's not the tutor's intention to confuse you. It's just good for you to know what you're doing. That's all I'm saying. Okay, I think this video is coming closer to an end. But yeah, make it fun. Like, go out to coffee shops with your friends to revise and research more about it. Find some fun facts about the topic that you're doing and share it with your class. Thank you so much for watching. I don't know if I'll ever be posting anything on this YouTube channel again. Leave me a comment down below, guys. That's all. Okay, bye. Love you all.